Today's question is, what is certainty? This question might be the most important one we posed on this channel so far. Certainty is not simply being convinced or even sure of something. That is still believing. Belief is the thought of something is true, which is seeing truth of thought in the fact, instead of the truth of the fact itself. As facts have nothing to do with our beliefs, so does certainty. Certainty is independent of our beliefs. It is witnessing objectivity as such. Certainty is the absence of subjectivity in the mind. In the absence of subjectivity, the factuality of the fact becomes visible. Certainty is the clarity of the fact to the mind. Now, how can the mind ever be free of subjectivity? And what is there to see in the mind then, anyway? The facts that we experience imprint themselves into our brains as neuronal patterns. That pattern is the experience of the fact, and as such, factual. So, the brain actually has the fact as an object. That feeling of having the fact as an object is the feeling of certainty. The neuronal pattern of the fact has nothing to do with our thoughts about it. Words and pictures are abstractions of the pattern, symbolic objects that the mind uses to simulate the fact as it thinks about it. The more it thinks about a fact, the more it replaces it with the simulation. But the abstraction is never certain, as it is not factual. That's why we cannot stop thinking, even if we come to satisfying conclusions. Thinking always brings uncertainty to the mind, also because abstraction is subjectivization, as we distort the fact in all sorts of ways through our hopes, fears, wishes, doubts, etc. So, uncertainty is a state of the thinking mind. There is no uncertainty outside of the mind, as the fact is always certain. That's why uncertainty ends the moment our mind looks directly at the pattern that the fact has imprinted into the brain. Looking here means sensing it out with attention. In looking at the pattern, witnessing the objectivity, the mind stops thinking altogether, because thinking itself is a reaction of the mind to uncertainty. As we said, certain is that which we can see clearly. Once we can see the fact as a pattern of the mind, there is no feeling of difference anymore between the mind and the fact, and therefore no conflict. That's why certainty is a feeling of complete peace towards the fact.